Junkies!
Let's revisit the topic of Ezra Miller, and not just Ezra Miller, but Will Smith and other actors who seemingly really kind of piss away their chances at stardom and just have these public outbursts that really call into question whether they still deserve their celebrity. Now, we've seen over the years a lot of bad people a lot of people that have trouble, kind of with sobriety or emotions or something like that. We've seen it with Robert Downey Jr. Like back in the day when he had a substance abuse problem. You could make the argument that Ezra Miller is doing the same thing, because it seems like all of his outbursts seem to happen whenever he gets drunk. But then again, that thing that he did where that fan, I guess, came on stage and he basically threw her to the ground or some stuff like that.
No. He walked outside of a club after the fact and choked a girl down to the ground. I thought that was the first thing he did.
That was the first thing?
That was the first thing he did and got in trouble for.
Okay. He was at a brewery, I think.
Yeah, he was at
so alcohol was involved. So all right.
But see, therein lies the problem. He assaulted somebody.
You know why though, right?
Why?
Because they say you run weird in the Flash.
Well, it's the truth.
He is.
It's the truth. But but at the same time, regardless of whatever was said to him, as long again, if they put hands on him first, defend yourself by all means. I stand by that 100%, no matter who you are. Mm-hmm. But for this second one, I think he had a restraining order put on him or something.
Yeah, this latest one. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, you have to realize you're put in a position with $100+ million franchise sitting on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. You got to act different, man.
You do,
regardless of anything. Like look at what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Right.
Now, I don't care about their own particular dispute one way or the other, who was right or who was wrong.
Me either.
But both of them were in positions in very high profile films. Mm-hmm. And here's the funny thing. It keeps being Warner Brothers people.
I know, right?
Because Johnny Depp was in that Fantastic Beast, and they were like,
no.
They should have got mad to the first place.
He
kind of looks a lot more like a villain, but regardless.
Oh, no, absolutely. But what I'm just saying is you had him there, and then Amber Heard was her thing. She was in Aquaman. So it's like, again, and it's not saying it's a Warner Brothers thing, but in this particular sense, from a PR side of things, it does seem to be a Warner Brothers problem because it's like you got all y'all people making.
Fisher.
Well, who knows what happened with him, because he didn't want to talk to nobody, so I don't really care about him, to be honest.
But I'm just saying, it's people having these outbursts, right?
No,
that fuck up the bag.
Again, his was he was supposed to be a victim, but again, without the full story, I don't really care about him one way or the other. Give me the full story, then I might give you consideration. But at least with the other ones, here's what was done. Here's things that have happened. Where are the consequences? And again, from a money standpoint, I completely understand it, because it's like, damn it, we invested a ton of money into these projects. They coming out hella high water.
Now, Grace Randolph, who has been out there as a scooper, her reputation may or may not precede her. The accuracy of her scoops or reports, don't always seem to work out, but a broken clock is right twice a day. She's saying that Ezra Miller's outburst, this is part of the reason why The Flash was pushed back. I don't know how true that is, but when you hear about this emergency meeting, that they're debating what to do with him moving forward, that they're debating that, do we want to have him as the Flash? Do we want him in Fantastic Beasts? Do we want to have any project involving him at all? That kind of lends a little bit of credence to what she's kind of reporting, saying that he was part of the reason why The Flash was pushed back. He wasn't on the press tour for Fantastic Beasts, which a movie that I hear bombed at the theaters this past weekend.
The new one came out already?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Or is either it
no,
came
I thought
out?
it was coming out.
Or is it
no,
Friday?
It's coming out.
Okay, it's coming out.
No, it's not out yet.
Okay, but it's gotten some pretty bad reviews. It's gotten some pretty bad reviews.
Whatever. I mean,
in any case, not necessarily that's his fault, but I'm just saying, you're right. The whole Warner Brothers thing, it seems like Warner Brothers just doesn't know how to get their stars under control, because good and damn well a Disney star that gets out of line, they are replaced immediately.
Well, let's look at it. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it out of the chat, though, because Cydia said that's why Grant Gustin should be in the Flash movie, which a lot of people have said it. Dido's been saying it since day one.
What's that stuff called? What they do with the faces now?
Oh, deepfaking?
Yeah, just put Grant Gustin's face on every body.
That movie would be delayed another year. They tried that.
Right.
It's either that or just whatever consequences happen from Flashpoint, just have him be just rewritten as a different person.
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to go with that angle. I literally think they're going to go with that angle because they got to get this guy. I never wanted him in the first place. I've been saying that from the jump.
I didn't like him either, but okay, now going back to your Disney point, Armie Hammer got in trouble a couple years ago.
Lone Ranger, I think, right?
Yeah, he got in trouble. It wasn't necessarily Lone Ranger that he got in trouble for. I think it was an assault charge.
But I think I think it was around the time Lone Ranger was getting come
either
out.
that or just after or whatever.
Yeah.
He's in a movie that came out recently that was under Disney's one of Disney's banners, and you didn't hear nothing about him being in this movie.
You sure did.
That Death on the Nile movie, which is like the sequel to that Murder on the Orient Express. He was in that, and he wasn't in no trailers. He wasn't in anything.
They didn't promote him at all.
Yeah, they hit his ass.
Okay.
They're like, look, man, we ain't promoting you at all.
Right.
Sorry.
It was Kenneth Branagh.
Dang.
There's Kenneth Branagh, Daisy Ridley, Gal
Gadot.
Gadot.
Like that was it. Like
that was it.
From what anybody understood.
You know who also didn't get pushed?
Who?
Letitia Wright.
Yeah.
Letitia Wright did not get pushed, and she was getting pushed before, but lately she has not been.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So right.
Again, they will sweep them under the rug. They'll still use them.
Right.
They ain't gonna put them out on the press tours and none of that other stuff.
That's a really good point.
So it's.
I'm sorry, Fallen. Please go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with everything that was going on with that whole situation because it's just like, hey, man, like. It's like, look, you didn't already. It's like you were already kind of just drawing up like bad press just on your own. So it's kind of like, or what? Because like I'm still wondering what the hell is even going to happen with like Evangeline Lilly, but by the time Quantumania come out, because it's like
you're right.
What is she?
She's been caught supporting she's like a COVID denier, anti-masker, supporting the truck convoy thing. So we'll see. We shall see.
But see, that's different though. You can have opposing views to what people consider the quote unquote norm. That's just her politics. Yeah. I don't care, but I don't judge people on their politics. You can have whatever beliefs you want.
Gina Carano.
Again, that one's a little bit deeper. She hit like
an entire race of people.
So. Yeah, there's certain words you do not throw out there in your argument and expect everything to be all right.
Okay.
So you can have whatever beliefs you have as far as vaccines and whatever. Again, doesn't matter. She's kind of stepped past a little bit of a line with that one. Mm-hmm. These other people, they assaulted people or they did whatever, domestic dispute. So it's like that's criminal.
Yeah.
Whatever you believe isn't. You can't arrest somebody for how they think about something or how they feel about something.
Right.
I can arrest you for beating up somebody.
Right.
So that's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Last thoughts on this before we move on. No, last thoughts on this before we move on. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Because it's just like it's different when it's like obviously it's like, look, if you are basically essentially having your own point of view, but I mean when that view kind of coincides with like misinformation and disinformation, that can also be just as problematic. It's not as severe as assault, but at the same time, it's kind of like you messing up the church's money.
Messing up the bag.
Cut it out.
Yep.
So it's like at the same time, it's like again with Ezra, it's like he been wilding. Like it's like, dude, like you go on a drunken rampage and threaten a couple for doing karaoke. What? And then they say something that was like they had like 10 reported calls on him since he went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it's dude,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, dude, what the hell? It's like at this point, it just really seems like I don't know if it's just he is just kind of just really just buckling under the pressure or whatever, and just kind of self-sabotaging himself. I don't know what it is. At any rate, dude needs to go. Like that's just where I'm at. Like he's too much of an insurance risk right now to what he's doing. Like
what you got, Dino?
I think something needs to be done about celebrities and people in general who put themselves out there in a point where other people, I don't want to use the word worship, but that kind of is, glorify all these people. Something goes to their heads where they feel like they can just do whatever the heck they feel like they want to, and we know that's not going to happen. I think if you want to be an ass, you shouldn't be an actor. And that's basically how it is. And I don't know if they need certain training, because I have no idea. You can't rectify it. People are going to be people. You're going to have dumb shits out there doing dumb stuff. And I think there should be some kind of process to see if your celebrity is going to be that type of person before they get put into a certain role.
I think the problem is there's no way to know until they get there.
And that's also the thing. But it's like, if you, not to try to say that it's a Warner versus Disney thing, but out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're just going to use those movies. Besides Letitia Wright, and she wasn't even acting like this when the first movie she came out, and it was only because she didn't agree with ways of preventing people to get sick. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, she wasn't, actively trying to go out there and hurt somebody, or actively going out there hurting himself.
It's her beliefs, her politics, or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like I don't know if it's just more maturity on the side, because if you look at all the Disney stars, they're a little bit more older. Ezra Miller is in his early 30s, late 20s, maybe.
I think it's not. I think it goes beyond that. I think it literally is the horror stories you hear about Disney of how strict they are. Could be I think they have you under contract. Like
those contracts.
Yeah, like I think their contract is truly that ironclad of like, don't go out there and embarrass us.
They probably
we will drop you.
What do they call them? In the same things that teachers have in, like, I think Catholics, I think it's morality. Is it morality?
It's probably
clauses?
something similar.
Like
it's something
similar
it's
thing
something
to like
morality
morality clauses.
Yeah, it's probably something very similar to that. And it's probably ironclad. It's probably like, look, you go out there and embarrass us, we can drop you in a second and recast, and we will keep on pushing.
Go ask Terrence Howard how quickly acting up.
Right. Well, no, he just wanted more money.
I know he wanted more money, but I'm just saying, like, he got out of line, and they was like, "Okay, you're out."
Oh yeah.
Granted, that was pre-Disney, but still.
Yeah, but when it came time around for contract negotiations, he thought he was going to get more money than Robert Downey. I'm like, your name ain't on the marquee, bro.
Like, you
your character is a secondary. I don't care about hustle and flow. I don't care about any of that. You are not about to be.
You ain't the star.
You know what's funny about that is, like, by the time he got to the first Iron Man, I think he was 2 years removed from Hustle and Flow.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of the movies he was doing since then really weren't all that great.
Oh yeah, Empire brought him back, of course, but could you imagine having Empire and you getting Disney checks?
Yeah.
Is that show done?
Oh yeah,
it's been done.
It's been done.
But one last thing on this before we push on. With the whole Ezra Miller thing, isn't his background? I know he has a band or something like that, but isn't his background indie films and whatnot?
Hell if I know. I think so.
Because I think that
much of his start was indie. Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem, honestly, and it kind of piggybacks on what Dido was saying. He comes from a smaller camp of filmmaking in the sense of, smaller group, indie film, smaller budget. I don't think he's just mentally, I don't think he's capable of carrying the weight of an entire franchise like this. It's different when you're in Justice League because you're part of a whole. You got all these other people that can carry the weight. You got Ben Affleck there, who's clearly a seasoned, performer and director and all that. So for The Flash, he was a character, but he was just there. Carrying a movie is a whole different ball game, and I think maybe he just ain't there for that. And maybe he just in his career at this point. I think the same thing with Shia LaBeouf. I think it's part of the reason Shia LaBeouf went and lost his damn mind because Steven Spielberg handpicked him.
Sure did.
And you notice as he started to get closer and closer to that "you're about to be a leading man" thing, he had his breakdown. And then all of a sudden, back to supporting, and he's back
kind
to normal.
Yeah.
So I think certain people, they cannot carry that franchise on their shoulders like that. This is too much.
It's just a job. You're a supporting actor, lead actor. It's the same job.
Again, I get that in theory.
But
remember, think of it from, imagine if, let's just say, like, Disney approached you and said, hey, we about to do whatever character, pick a character, and you're going to be the lead person in this movie. The whole thing hinges on your performance and you. Remember, as an actor, yes, it's a job. And I think and John Cena said it best. He did not realize why The Rock does what he does because of the fact that once he got on set and saw all those people depending on him, basically. Yes, it's all these people that are getting paid for doing what they're doing, but the success or failure of maybe doing a sequel depends on you as the performer, as that lead actor. It's a lot of pressure. Just from that standpoint and that thought.
Never mind that when you're out on the street, you still have to be on.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the other
you're
wrestler.
still the character.
Again, wrestlers have it from a different standpoint, but I'm saying Ezra Miller being an indie actor, he might not have been ready for that.
Yeah, he ain't ready for that.
And I think that's why Shia LaBeouf lost his damn mind.
Right.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed that clip. Make sure you check out our live content on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Culture Junkies. We also have a lot of content available on YouTube, unboxings as well as Blu-ray reviews. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Culture Junkies. And on top of all of that, if you go to culturejunkies.net, you can check out our merch store. The link is culturejunkies.net/merch. There's a lot of great merchandise there. So there's links and logos and stuff all around me. So check those out, and we will see you next time.